at 5 a.m. On a crisp Tuesday in March 2024, I jolted awake to the roar of machinery tearing through the quiet of Willow Creek, a small town nestled along a shimmering lake in Oregon. Peering out my window, my heart stopped. The old stone bridge my great-uncle Henry constructed in 1918, the only path to our family lodge, was being reduced to rubble by strangers wielding sledgehammers. There, basking in the chaos like a reality TV star, stood Karen Whitaker, our HOA president, her phone propped up to live-stream the destruction. She called it protecting community standards. I called it betrayal. What she didn't know was that demolishing that bridge unleashed something ancient, something tied to the land itself, and it was about to spiral beyond her control. I threw on a jacket and boots, my pulse racing as I sprinted outside. That bridge wasn't just stone and mortar, it was where Henry taught me to skip rocks, where I spread his ashes 3 years ago, where I dreamed of bringing my future kids. Every chunk of rock hitting the dirt felt like a hammer to my memories. Karen spotted me charging toward her and flashed a smug grin, tilting her phone to catch my stunned face for her audience. "Morning, Ethan," she chopped, her voice dripping with fake cheer. "Sorry for the early wake-up, but this hazard had to go for everyone's safety." I demanded permits, paperwork, anything to justify this vandalism. Her smile widened as she turned to her viewers. "Some folks think their feelings trump rules, but that's not how a proper community works." She claimed an emergency HOA vote the previous night had greenlit the demolition, but I'd never gotten a notice. I've lived here 5 years since inheriting the lodge, attended every HOA meeting, paid dues on time, kept the place spotless. Yet somehow, this emergency vote about my bridge happened without me. When I called her out, she shrugged. "Check your mailbox more often, Ethan." The workers kept swinging, and she kept filming, narrating like she was saving the town. I stayed calm. Losing it on her stream would only paint me as the villain. By the time the sheriff arrived, the bridge was gone, reduced to a pile of broken stone. The deputy was kind but helpless. "This sounds like an HOA dispute, not a crime," he said. "Unless you've got proof they lacked authority, my hands are tied." I watched, gutted, as the last of Henry's work was hauled off like garbage. Karen ended her stream with a triumphant smirk. "Leadership means tough calls, but Willow Creek is safer today." Safer. She was an out-of-work realtor playing dictator because no one else wanted her job. As her SUV peeled out, I stood by the wreckage, stones scattered into the creek. But something shifted in me. Karen thought she'd won with her little audience and HOA gavel. She had no clue what she'd stirred up. Back in the lodge, I dug through Henry's old trunk, pulling out faded maps and notes I'd found after his funeral. They detailed the creek's flow into Willow Lake and how to control it. Karen wanted to mess with my family's legacy. Fine. She was about to learn some games come with stakes she couldn't imagine. The next day, I hit the county office. The clerk confirmed my suspicions. The bridge was fully permitted in 1918, a protected historic structure. Karen's vote was illegal. No proper notice was sent to homeowners. But lawyers cost a fortune, and my bridge was already dust. Suing would take years and wouldn't stop her from coming after me again. I needed something sharper, something now. In the garage, I sifted through Henry's surveying gear maps, sketches, and notes about water patterns around Willow Lake. As a kid, I'd half listened when he talked about water management, but now his words clicked. He wasn't just a surveyor, he'd helped design the lake's water system in the 1930s. His notes pointed to a hidden control station in the woods behind my land, built to manage flooding. Following his directions, I trekked through dense pines until I found it, a concrete bunker buried under vines. The rusted door groaned as I pushed it open, my phone's flashlight revealing a massive valve wheel inside, like something from a warship. Henry's notes explained it controlled the pipe feeding Willow Lake. A quarter-turn slowed the creek to a drip. I tested it, watching the water drop, and felt a surge of power. This was Henry's gift, a way to fight back. Meanwhile, Karen upped her attack. That night, she live-streamed from the debris on my land, whining about my refusal to clean up. The next morning, an HOA violation notice was taped to my door, demanding I clear the rubble she'd created or face $150 daily fines. Her signature was scrawled with a flourish, as if she relished every word. Then came an unexpected ally. After dinner, an older man knocked on my door. Leonard Tate, a retired teacher who'd lived here 15 years. He'd quit the HOA board after clashing with Karen over her shady tactics. "She's not the brains," he whispered. "A guy in a fancy black sedan visits her weekly. He calls the shots." Leonard revealed 3 other families had been harassed into selling their homes, each time with that sedan in Karen's driveway and cash offers arriving at the perfect moment. I staked out Karen's house the next evening, binoculars in hand. Right on cue, a sleek Mercedes rolled in. A sharp-dressed man, Paul Grayson, spent an hour backing orders while Karen nodded like a loyal assistant. A quick search pegged him as a developer owning 3 lakefront estates worth millions. It all clicked. Karen was his puppet, and my bridge was just a step in his plan to turn Willow Creek into a luxury retreat. Now I had 2 weapons, the valve and the truth about Paul. The question was how to hit them where it hurt. At 1 a.m., I slipped into the woods to the valve station. My plan was simple: cut the water flow by 30% for a few hours, just enough to rattle Paul without wrecking the lake. The wheel turned with a deep groan, and the creek slowed. By 6 a.m., Paul's driveway was packed with cars, his private dock exposed as the lake dropped 4 inches. Karen went live, stammering about unexpected ecological issues, but her viewers weren't fooled. Comments piled up: "Did someone mess with the lake? This about that bridge?" I reset the valve by 8 o'clock, and the lake normalized, leaving Karen looking like a fool trying to explain a crisis that vanished. That afternoon, Paul showed up at my lodge, all smiles and slick charm. "Ethan, I'm Paul Grayson. Own a few places around here. Heard you're having HOA trouble." He offered $120,000 for my lodge, framing it as an escape from Karen's nonsense. When I declined, citing family ties, his mask slipped. He rambled about his vision for Willow Creek as a high-end resort, implying my lodge didn't fit. "Sentiment's nice, but progress pays," he said, leaving his card with a veiled warning to rethink my choice. Leonard dropped by that night with old HOA emails showing Paul's playbook: target a property, unleash Karen's harassment, then swoop in with a lowball offer. 3 families had caved. Paul's quick visit after my water stunt proved he was spooked, but Leonard warned he'd get nastier if I didn't sell. Staring at Henry's maps, I knew I could do more than spook him. Paul thought he was untouchable, but he didn't know his empire rested on water I controlled. Saturday was Paul's big pitch to investors for a $4 million resort deal. Catered brunch, boat tours, the works. At 9 a.m., as he toasted his guests, I cranked the valve to divert 60% of the lake's flow. By 10:30, the lake was down a foot. Paul's yacht tilted in the mud, docks wobbled, and investors whispered about environmental risks. Karen live-streamed the mess, oblivious to how it tanked Paul's deal. "We are facing a critical lake issue," she droned, as comments mocked her, "Karma's real." By noon, the investors bailed, and Paul's pristine lakefront was a muddy wreck. I restored the flow that night, leaving no trace of my handiwork but plenty of doubt about his paradise. Paul confronted me by my mailbox, his calm gone. "I know you did this, Ethan. I don't know how, but I know." I played dumb, mentioning climate change, my phone quietly recording his outburst. He just handed me leverage. But he didn't stop. Monday brought lawsuits, property damage, ecological sabotage, even claims I was a community threat. A PI tailed me, snapping photos. Karen's Willow Creek Watch group posted daily lies about my dangerous behavior. Inspectors swarmed my lodge with bogus complaints. Someone spray-painted "trouble" on my driveway. My cameras caught Karen's car nearby, but the sheriff shrugged it off. Neighbors I'd known for years avoided me. I was drowning. One night, staring at legal papers, I nearly broke. Selling felt like the only out. Then I found Henry's photo, standing proud on his bridge. He'd built it to endure, not to be crushed by bullies. I wasn't done. At 3 a.m. Sunday, I hit the valve station with a new plan, total war. I opened the system to divert 90% of the lake's water. By dawn, Willow Lake was a wasteland, mud flats, stranded boats, a stench like death. News choppers circled, calling it an unexplained disaster. Businesses shut down, property values tanked, and residents raged at town hall. Karen's streams were a circus of laughing emojis and karma jabs. Paul scrambled, hiring PR firms and begging for federal help, but no one could explain the lake's vanishing act. When the FBI questioned me, I showed Henry's 1895 water rights, proving my family's legal control. Their probe turned to Paul, uncovering his illegal pumps and fake permits. He'd been stealing water for years to inflate his property values. At a packed town hall, Leonard dropped the bombshell: bank records, emails, and plans proving Paul paid Karen to harass families. Residents erupted as victims shared stories, fines for kids playing, noise complaints for parties, all followed by Paul's offers. Karen's live-streamed apology collapsed into tears, admitting Paul's manipulation. Her followers turned, and she fled town, her house sold. The restoration ceremony was pure catharsis. As I turned the valve to refill the lake, federal agents cuffed Paul, charging him with fraud, bribery, and environmental crimes. Cameras caught his pep walk, a perfect end to his reign. The crowd roared as water surged back, kids cheering, neighbors hugging. The new bridge, built with community hands and Henry stones, stood stronger than ever. The lake's ecosystem thrived, free of Paul's toxins, drawing researchers and tourists. Paul's estates became public parks, and a transparent council replaced the HOA. 6 months later, on the bridge at dusk, my phone buzzed. Mr. Carter, our HOA in Nevada's ruining us. Can you help? Willow Creek wasn't just savage, it was a spark. Justice flows like water, and I was ready to guide it. What do you think? Was I a hero or a vigilante? Should I have drained the lake or fought legally? Could Karen have been redeemed, or was she too far gone? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if you felt the rush, and subscribe for more stories where the little guy fights back.